Hello, my name is Michael Perry, and this is my final for our critical thinking class. The topic I chose was, should fighting in hockey be allowed? Some controversies that go with both sides of the argument is that it's been happening since the beginning. It contributes to the sport and injuries in the sport. And depending on which side of the argument, they have different reasons for why it should or shouldn't be, why fighting should or shouldn't be allowed. The nature of hockey is such a fast-paced, mentally and physically demanding sport. There's a lot of unseen things that go in on the sport, and expecting the referees to see and catch and give penalties, etc. It's a big job for them, and so one of the main reasons that fighting in hockey should be allowed is that it holds players accountable for each other. When someone is doing something that they're not supposed to do, other players can throw body checks, get a little bit more aggressive without going into fighting. Another reason is because it is a tradition of the sport. It's been happening most likely since before there was a rule book. And even in the original rules, there are penalties against fighting without ejecting players from the game. Fighting contributes, as mentioned a little bit earlier, contributes to tactics. It's a form of the game of how it's played, beyond the rules of just. Additionally, it does increase fan interest and participation in the sports, going to sports, paying for events. Fans is really the main reason that sports are professional, why there's professional teams to generate money. The opposing view to fighting in hockey is that it should be banned. The image I put here is my personal view of hockey without fighting. It just seems like a easygoing kids game with foam, hockey sticks, and a ball. It doesn't make it very competitive. The argument against fighting in hockey are concussions, mental illnesses because of concussions, death. Pretty much the same argument used in any physical sport. Bad example for children, seeing professional players be or contribute to fighting on the ice when they're playing. It also promotes violence for younger children that are playing hockey, whether on the ice or street hockey. Any forms of hockey it promotes violence. Some fallacies with my supporting argument is that rules and traditions of sports change. Very often, rules change in games to make it better for the most part, to add more strategy to the game. The referees in the game are also supposed to hold the players accountable. They're supposed to make sure players are following the rules and not going out of their way to be violent towards any other players. The fallacies of being against fighting in hockey is that hockey is very fast-paced physically and mentally, and because it's so fast-paced and injuries will happen, sports do have a medical fund that is supposed to be there for when injuries do happen. Another fallacy that fighting shouldn't be in hockey kind of eliminates a strategy to the game. Just because fighting is an option in the game under certain circumstances, you don't have to contribute to it. In other sports, teams purposely do things they're not supposed to be penalized, to try and get ahead a different way, to try and stop the opponent team from progressing. a fallacy that children will be involved and that it'll be promoting violence to children, or that um, certain things should or shouldn't happen in the sport, is that rules can be different for children. There are a lot of sports where certain things in adult or professional sports happen that don't happen in children games. In judo, an armbar or breaking someone's arm professionally is allowed, but you obviously can't do that in a children's sport when you're just learning to play the game, even if it's children competitive. Um, the difference between professional and children's sport are that professionals have those sports therapy, they have doctors on scene. There's a whole profession around sports injuries, where children is really just for fun. Even if it is competitive, it's not. There's no risk reward, where professionals make money and the injury is risk. Children play just to have fun, or get a trophy or something similar. This has been my presentation for fighting in hockey. Here are my references. Thank you.